In certain moments, we feel as if our emotions have complete control over us. We speak impulsively, respond in the wrong way, and may even break something that can't be repaired. Then, just minutes later, awareness returns, and we ask ourselves, why did I say that? Or, why couldn't I control myself? These aren't just brief moments of weakness. They are clear signs that emotion overpowered reason, and that we failed, even if temporarily, to practice what is known as conscious emotional detachment. Conscious emotional detachment is not about coldness or numbness, as some might think. It's an advanced mental skill that allows us to control our emotions instead of being controlled by them. The idea is simple: to temporarily step back from the intense feeling brewing inside you and observe that feeling as if you're watching someone else experience it. The goal isn't to deny it or suppress it, but to protect yourself from reacting in a way you might regret later. It's a form of emotional intelligence, but at its highest level. When mastered, this technique gives you immense power. Imagine you're in a heated argument, and the other person is deliberately provoking you. Normally, you'd raise your voice, respond with harsh words, and things would spiral out of control. But if you apply this technique, you'll feel like you've taken a mental step back. You observe the situation calmly and ask yourself, why is he doing this? Is it worth responding? Would it be wiser to delay this conversation? In doing so, you don't just avoid conflict. You preserve your dignity, protect your image, and transform the confrontation into a space of calm control. What's fascinating is that this trick isn't just used by the wise or the emotionally mature, but also by some of history's most manipulative personalities. Some well-known psychopaths have mastered this technique to the point where they've detached themselves completely from empathy or remorse, using emotional coldness as a weapon to dominate others. The key difference lies in intention. If you use it to understand others and make better decisions, it's pure emotional intelligence. But if you use it to manipulate or dominate, it becomes a dangerous and icy weapon. Since the brain doesn't always distinguish between conscious and unconscious behavior, many people apply this technique without realizing it. For example, someone who experiences a major loss but doesn't break down. Instead, they remain composed, smile, and continue their conversation. We might think they're cold, but in reality, they're practicing this skill without even knowing its name. On the other hand, someone else might collapse under the smallest pressure because they've never trained themselves to take that step back and observe. To master this skill, you don't need a miracle, just consistent practice. Start by observing your daily emotions without judging them. When you feel angry, tell yourself, I feel angry now, but I am not anger itself. That small shift in awareness gives you a space before you react. With time, that moment of pause becomes a mental habit that gives you greater emotional control. What's remarkable is that this ability isn't only useful in crises or difficult conversations, it's powerful in relationships too. Emotional detachment doesn't mean apathy. It means loving with full awareness, not losing yourself in someone else, and keeping your judgment intact. It means you can still take a step back when needed, and that one step can save you from toxic relationships or devastating decisions. But caution is essential. Overusing this technique can drag you into dangerous territory. If you practice emotional detachment constantly, in every situation, with every person, you begin to shut down empathy. You build a wall between yourself and the world. At that point, emotional intelligence transforms into emotional numbness. Sadness and joy become distant scenes. Nothing truly touches your heart anymore. And this side of detachment is dangerous because it slowly kills your humanity. The true art lies in balance, knowing when to use it and when to let it go. To detach when making decisions, but return fully human afterward. To use it for calm, not for escape. To wear it as armor, not a mask. You might be asking yourself now, do I actually use this without even realizing it? Have I ever been in a moment where I let my emotions take over and regretted it later? Have I walked away from an argument or a decision and thought, I could have handled that better? If only I had paused for a second. These questions aren't meant to make you feel guilty. They're not accusations, and they're certainly not signs of weakness. They're signals, powerful ones, that you're beginning to wake up to something deeper inside you. They're proof that you're starting to develop something most people never do: real emotional awareness. Because deep inside every person, yes, every single one of us, there's a part that wants to react, and another part that wants to rise. A part that wants to scream, and a part that wants to understand. A part that gets pulled into chaos, and a part that watches, thinks, and chooses peace. That's the quiet war we all live with. The battle between the emotional instinct and the conscious response. And you know what? You don't have to be a monk or a psychologist or a master of philosophy to win that battle. You just have to catch one moment, 1 second, one breath, one pause, where you stop and ask yourself, is this who I want to be right now? Because in that single pause, in that small space between what you feel and what you do, that's where the difference is made. That's where you decide whether you'll become the person who reacts or the one who responds. The person who lets their feelings explode or the one who channels their feelings into power. That's where you choose. I will lead with my mind before I let my emotions lead me into something I can't take back.